But the reality is, even if that, ripple goes out and changes one life, it will be totally worth it.
So, January, of course, is a special month for Truckers Against Trafficking. Tell me more about this month.
Yeah, so National Human Trafficking Prevention Month is January of every year. We just celebrated National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, which would have been January 11th. And, like we always say to people, there's never a bad time. I mean, it's hard, right? It's difficult subject matter to talk about human trafficking. While there's never a bad time to talk about it, January is really great and is a really good time. What we find is that there's so much momentum behind just kind of having an awareness month that we are able to really engage partners around specific training initiatives that they may have or social media campaigns, just sharing the word about their partnership with TAT, about the effort, about human trafficking awareness in general. And we find that it just is a great collective effort to continue bringing awareness to the issue.
What are some things Truckers Against Trafficking does throughout this month?
Oh my word. What are some of the things we don't do? I think I was on an interview with someone last week, and this number has already increased, but I think I counted over 36 events that we as a staff, a small staff, are trying to participate in this month. But we are working to promote especially our new corporate training video, which we just released. That is a huge push for us this month. This is a brand new piece of training that we really created as a request, honestly, from our corporate partners. So, right, we have amazing partners within the industry that are sharing this training with their drivers. And while that is a great tool for training anyone on human trafficking awareness, it is very driver specific. And so we would get requests over the years. Tat, have you ever considered creating something for more of the back office or the corporate employees, the business travelers, the execs, the HR, right? What are some things that we could share with them for training? And so that's really what this new video is. The title of it is You've Seen Us Before, and it's a brand new take on training, at least for TAT. So it features reenactments of actual trafficking situations and subject matter experts sharing, as well as 3 human trafficking survivors that represent a sex trafficking and a labor trafficking perspective, both in the US and in Canada. So this new training is available on our website. Anybody can take it. We're actually finding that a number of our trucking partners have said, we're going to actually share this with our drivers as well. So we would encourage drivers to take a look at it as well. But it's a huge push for us this month, in addition to, right, just the continued effort to be a part of interviews and events and social media campaigns as well.
And how important is it? Obviously, Truckers Against Trafficking encourages truckers to be educated, but how important is it for just the general public to be educated?
Yeah, I think, and this is, I honestly get goosebumps thinking about it. I know that that's kind of cheesy, but we all live and work in communities. We all travel, whether it's just locally or across the state, across the country, or internationally. We all go to the grocery store. We all probably go out to eat at restaurants. We all, see different construction projects or, just all kinds of different things in our own communities. And it really takes all of us to be a part of this effort. We know drivers, OTR drivers, local drivers, in-home delivery folks, and professional movers. We know that they are on the front lines. They're seeing this. They're in these locations that traffickers are routinely exploiting their victims at. But it's also happening literally in all of our backyards. And so for everyone, for a stay-at-home mom, for a grandma, for a business traveler, like I said, an HR executive, it really does not matter who you are, a teacher, right? We all really need to understand the signs and the potential intersections that we have with this in our own lives so that we can be a part of that ripple effect. One of the things that I like to tell people, I end all my presentations with, think about picking up that stone and chucking it into the lake or the pond or whatever way you want to visualize it, and those ripple effects that go out from that. we're not ever going to know the total lives or situations that have been impacted because of our own engagement in this issue. But the reality is, even if that, ripple goes out and changes one life, it will be totally worth it. Every single piece of this puzzle starts to come together when we all get involved. So yeah, it's truly remarkable to see the power of the collective in thinking about that bystander intervention that we always talk about. Be an active bystander and don't assume that somebody else is going to make a call.
And when it comes to human trafficking, can you kind of give me a definition of it? I think probably for a lot of people, they've seen movie depictions of it, but
Yeah.
what can it look like?
Yeah, so we use the federal definition, which is human trafficking is the exploitation of human beings through force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of either commercial sex, think prostitution, stripping, pornography, brothels, most typically pimps or pimping, as well as forced labor or labor trafficking. There are just some examples include sweatshops, agricultural fields, domestic servitude, construction work, nail salons, illicit massage parlors, those types of things. Anytime, whether it's forced labor or forced sex, there is a third party, a trafficker, a victimizer, someone who is in control of someone else and making a profit off of their labor. That is human trafficking, and it is also known as modern day slavery. So that truly could look like a worker in a bar or a restaurant. It could be a construction site. It could be agricultural fields, meat packing plants, magazine crews, door to door magazine crews. That's an example. Folks that are forced to go door to door trying to sell magazine subscriptions. Begging, panhandling on corners. Those folks are sometimes forced into sitting there and begging for money. So there's just a number of ways that this shows up. And I think another thing that would be great to promote this month as well, I know we've talked about it in the past, but is our TAT app. The app that we updated last year. And, you are able to filter red flag content by your specific role in the industry, whether it's energy, over the road driver, local driver, just member of the general public, or you can choose to see it all. But that's a way for you to sort of hone in on, okay, this is my day to day. What might the specific red flags look like for me in how I operate in my everyday job. But there are case studies there. There's, again, examples and red flags that I would really encourage listeners to download and check out, because it's a great tool to have in your pocket. You may not open it every day, may not be like a social media app that you're opening every day, but it's a great digital resource to have in your pocket if you ever suspect, am I seeing a minor that looks like they're engaged in commercial sex? What are some of those red flags? Am I seeing somebody that looks like they're under the control of a pimp or a trafficker, regardless of the age or gender of that victim or that trafficker? Am I seeing somebody at a place of business that looks like they are living on site, or someone that maybe doesn't have their own documents, their own ID, someone who isn't able to maintain their own money, those types of things. So anyway, I could go on and on about these red flags, but I think the reality is being able to know that there's something you can do. And that's what I love about the TAT training is it doesn't matter who you are. When you watch this training, no matter which one it is, you really get a sense of this could be happening to someone I know, or it could be happening in my neighborhood. And yeah, it is uncomfortable. It is hard to think about, what if I am the only person that is witnessing this crime right now? Do I have enough courage to make the call? And I think the great thing and the beauty of our training is we really try to reinforce for people it's okay to be wrong. Here are these red flags. We're hoping that you're reviewing these, in the app or wherever. But if you really have that sense of something isn't right and you're not sure, just make the call. Law enforcement, the national hotline, everybody involved in reporting always says we would rather you call and be wrong than for you not to call and have that potential victim continue to endure a life of exploitation.
And you mentioned really like a long list of things, ways that victims can be victimized. Do victims always know that they are victims? Do they realize the situations they're in?
No. And that's what can be very hard, right? And that's not the fault of the victim by any means, right? We know traffickers are master manipulators. They are looking for people on the margins. They're looking for those that lack housing security, food security, love, relationships, attention, right? When we think about our children and our young people, they are playing off of their fears, their hopes, their dreams, and they are able to sort of step in and provide whatever it is that that person is lacking at the time. And this victim may think that this person truly loves them. You know, they've spent time getting to know them. They've spent time supplying them with clothing or food or shelter, a place to live. And they may indicate some type of relationship with this person and really say, you know, hey, I love you. They're building, they're grooming, they're wooing their victim over a period of weeks or months, and the victim, you know, may truly believe that they are in this relationship with this person, and so they may not consider themselves a victim, and that can be hard. But the reality is, if you have an opportunity to step in, there are some simple questions that you can ask. You know, we obviously are not encouraging anybody to go in and try to, you know, physically recover anyone, but just simple things like, are you okay? You know, do you need help? Is anybody forcing you to do anything that you don't want to do? Something as simple as, can I buy you lunch, or can I give you this bottle of water? Something that opens up a potential conversation and really helps to see, honestly, just the humanity in other people. I think we lose that sometimes in our day and age because we are all so focused on, you know, what's going on in our digital world or in our own lives. But just having the ability to look up, to notice if something isn't right with someone else, and just asking a simple question to try to start a conversation and see if there's anything about the situation that that victim, you know, expresses fear or concern about.
And of course, truck drivers are in an excellent position as far as, how much ground they cover and being at truck stops. Do you have any stories of a time when a truck driver did step in and were able to contact law enforcement to make a difference?
Yes, absolutely. So one of our Harriet Tubman Award winners, his name is Arian Taylor. And I love this story because he actually was not at a truck stop. He wasn't at a rest area. He was at a place of business waiting to get his load. And he was in this industrial area in California. It was 3:30 in the morning. It was pouring down rain, and he was delayed in getting loaded. And he was sitting there waiting, and he got a knock on his door, and it was a young woman who had tears in her eyes. She had literally everything she had with her in a plastic bag in her arms: no shoes, no cell phone, no identification. And she essentially relayed to him that she had come to that particular city that weekend with a friend and a friend's older boyfriend to party. And throughout the course of the weekend, it became clear that that friend's older boyfriend was going to try to prostitute them. And she fought off her would-be trafficker. He dumped her in this sort of desolate industrial area, again in the middle of the night, and she was desperate for some help. Now, Arian had been trained with the TAT training. He also had the TAT window decal on his window, which would have been at eye level when that victim knocked on his door. And so they were able to call the national hotline together. Arian put her on the phone with them. They were able to arrange a prepaid cab ride. This cab came out to this location. Arian made sure that, you know, this is really the cab and it's safe for her to go in. He gave this woman his personal cell phone number, but anyway, with the hotline's help, she was able to get to a shelter for the night, and the next day was able to get a train ticket back home to a neighboring state. And so I think that this just goes to demonstrate two things. One, that those decals really make a difference. You know, if you're not familiar, it has the TAT logo and it says, "Do you need help?" And it has the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Um, Arian really believes that it was that sticker that likely tipped off that young woman to think maybe this person can help me. But then the training and the fact that he was just going about his everyday work, right? He wasn't at a truck stop, he wasn't at a mall, he wasn't in a, you know, neighborhood or anything else. Um, this literally came knocking on his door, and thankfully he knew exactly what to do. He jumped into action, and because of his call, again, that young woman was able to be reunited with her family.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, You mentioned the training and other resources. Where, if anyone listening or watching wants to find those, where can they go for that?
Yeah, you should check out our TAP portal. It is available at train.tatnonprofit.org. There you can create a user profile for free and take any of our courses that are available, including that new training that I mentioned. You're also welcome to email us at info@tatnonprofit.org if you'd like to request training materials or wallet cards, window decals, those sorts of things. Again, we share all of this information at no cost to our partners. So we would love to get you whatever you need to be empowered to be a part of this work with us.
And of course, I mean, January is the awareness month, but you're doing work
All year,
365 to your
every day. That's right. Yep. Traffickers don't take a break, and neither do we, right? And we know truckers are out there every day moving goods across North America to keep our economy moving. And so we're all out there anyway. We're all doing our business, going about our days. And so, why not just get trained and recognize these red flags? It can be done in less than 30 minutes, and it really could save a life.
Hey, thanks for watching. To stay up to date on the latest in trucking news, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of new videos when they come out each week.